Hey guys, this is Robert Dailey with Dailey Woodworks and the Recreational Woodworker. It is time to do an update on my Makita Track Saw and answer the question, do I wish I would have bought the Festool one?
Before we get started today, I would like to invite you to go to the recreationalwoodworker.com. This is my website and blog that has all of my woodworking plans, how-to tutorials, jigs, furniture, shop projects, tool reviews, everything that you need to know about being a woodworker. We have an extensive blog where it's easy to find the essential clamps you need, how to build awesome tabletops, and upcycling furniture projects. All those different things that you might want to do to be a woodworker. So go check out the recreationalwoodworker.com and let's get back to our video.
I bought my Makita Track Saw about a year ago, and I did 3 full videos of it. I did an unboxing, I did setting up, trimming the rails, and then I went over all the knobs and adjustments and things like that. I did miss on the bottom, you have a couple of set screws that you can adjust the square with. I did miss that, and apparently there's 2 little marks right here and right here that show you kind of where your plunge starts and stops. So I missed those in that video, but it covers everything else and I went over it. But the main question today is, do I wish I would have bought the Festool Track Saw? Either the TS55 or the TSC55. The TSC, the cordless version, would be exactly this. So, do I regret it? So just to be clear, I have nothing against Festool, quite obviously. I've invested several thousands of dollars in Festool equipment. But when it came to the Track Saw, after looking at the prices, the comparisons, all the reviews online, I decided that I was going to save the premium cost and get the Makita instead of the Festool. There were several reasons I chose the Makita Track Saw over the DeWalt and over, let's see, I think Bosch has one now. There are several different track saws out there, some better than others. All of them, from all the reviews, all the premium brands, your DeWalt, your Bosch, your Makita, your Festool, your Mafell, like all those, they get you really good cuts. Some do, you know, very little better than others, but it's a lot of diminishing returns. You spend enough money to buy the quality brand, and then after that it's just bells and whistles, name recognition, things like that. In my mind, the Makita really shines at hitting all the right check boxes, but still giving you a great value for the money. My entire track saw setup, which was the Makita saw, which came with 4 batteries and a charger, the guide rail tracks, I have the 55, the 39, and the 110, and I think and the Insta-Rail Square, which I'm going to talk about more in a little bit. I was out the door from Tool Nut for about $1,000 because of the promo they were running at the time. And I have used it a lot. We have built cabinets. I've been working on this live edge walnut table. This thing is 1.5 inches thick, and this saw cut it in one pass with a finished plywood blade on it. And so to back up, the reason I chose the Makita was because it uses the Festool pattern tracks. And that was important to me because, like I said right here, is I'm on the Festool system. And I'm going to be buying Festool things. But if I can get a great product like this, or even my Makita cordless router, for less money, then I'm going to do it. But I still value the Festool system approach. So after a year, what do I like about this saw? Pretty much everything. One gripe I have was calibrating the squareness of it. And let me pull out the batteries so we can talk about that. Over time, things just get loose. It got a little bit out of calibration. Adjusting it's a pain because you have to take the batteries out, obviously, push that, plunge it down, somehow square it up, and then adjust those little squares so it's square. It's doable, but I wish there was like an easy way to do that, to calibrate it. Once I did calibrate it a few months ago, I check it every once in a while, and not an issue since then. And this table actually has 2 boards in it, and I actually edge jointed them with the track saw and joined them together, and it's perfectly flat. One of the biggest criticisms that people give me is the lack of a riving knife on the Makita versus the Festool and I think some of the other brands. I haven't seen the need from it. Every once in a while when I'm doing a lot of live edge slabs, you know, the board will want to close up a little bit. But even on a table saw, if that happens with the riving knife, it still gets stuck. And this thing doesn't kick back because as soon as it gets any resistance, it's going to cut off. And I've actually never had a kickback issue with this saw. It'll stall out before it kicks back. So I think that's an electronic thing they built in on purpose. The speed control, never used that at all. I don't know where I would use it or why I would use it, but it's on maximum speed, which is a number 5, all the time. Battery life is phenomenal. Let's see, I've been using these sets of batteries for about a week, and now I don't cut lots of cabinets, but I would say you could get almost a full day of cutting cabinets, breaking down sheets of plywood out of this. In fact, we have. So I broke down like 10 sheets in one day with just one set of batteries. And now at the end of the day, they were dead, but they hold their charge great. The 36 volt system is awesome. This has actually got me on the Makita platform. I've liked this saw so much that I've started buying other Makita tools, like this hammer drill that I just did an unboxing on, and then I have I also have my Makita palm router with a plunge base that can also ride on the tracks because it has a Festool type track adapter. So if you are looking for a track saw, the Makita is absolutely the way to go in my opinion. I get flawless cuts. Everything I do, I cut. Batteries are still out, by the way. I cut with this 56 tooth Makita brand blade. This is my second one I've had on here just because I wore the first one out. The one that came with it is awesome. But this 56 tooth blade Makita, like, I have no reason to try any other brand of blade because it's almost a polished finish that it gives you on a board. Like, it's ready to edge joint, edge glue. It's you have to sand it to rough it up a little bit to match everything else you've sanded. Great blades from Makita. I have no qualms, problems with them at all. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm just going to stick with the Makita blades. Everything else, I tend to run the Freud Diablos. So, I mean, that tells you something right there. Dust collection has been my biggest frustration with this saw. Not because the dust collection sucks, it's actually very good. But I just have a janky adapter system. I think the hose is compatible with the Festool one, but it doesn't fit any of my other hoses, and that's just a pain in the butt to deal with. I've got my hose with a little remote control on the end of it. I'm about to invest in I really debated going with the Makita dust extractor or the Festool one. I think I'm just going to go with the Festool one because it has the built-in top for the sustainers, which is nice for a lot of different reasons. So I think that's what I'm going to do, but I'm kind of wanting to try the Makita AC DC powered so it can run off 36 volt, or you can plug it in. Really thinking about trying that one, but I'm not sure how the remotes will work with that. What else is there to say about this saw? Oh, buying, what I would do differently. So I got the 3 lengths of tracks. The one I use the most is the 55-inch track. The one I use the least is my 39-inch track. The 39-inch does the job, but it's just a little bit too short for most things. I like having plenty of room for the saw to basically go all the way over here off the edge and, you know, be able to sit. And that's one thing you want with the track saws. You want overhang because you want everything to clear, because there's basically 2 bearing surfaces on the saw that you adjust your tension with, and you want those to be on the track at all times. And if for some reason you have to hang it off the edge, then you only have 1 bearing surface and you can mess up your cut. So I use the 55-inch the most, followed by my long one that rips them together. If you were gonna do this on a budget, I would say get 2 55-inch tracks and then get this little guide that can join them together. I rarely use this thing because I have the long track, but if you're looking to save more money, get this guy with the connector system and you're good. The Festool pattern tracks are almost exactly the same as the Makita ones. Makita has this little anti-tip lip right here that I hear interferes with some Festool accessories, but honestly I'll just either modify my track or modify the Festool accessories, or just buy a Festool track and just run my Makita on it if I need it. The only thing that I would need is the 32mm hole system from Festool if I was going to do that, and I'd get the 55-inch with the LR32 holes for the OF6 for their 32mm hole system, and I'd be good to go. So I'd have to get another track anyway, and then I could just use it with that. The tape on this has held up really good. It's about time to get new tape. I bought the Festool brand tape to put on here. I've just been lazy, hadn't done it yet. I'll do a video on how to change that out. So battery life is good. Blade changes are pretty straightforward and easy. I've showed all this in other videos, obviously. It locks in place, you can change the blade. A lot of people put covers here to improve the dust collection. It does help a little bit. I'm sure scientifically it helps a good bit, but I don't see much of a difference, and I'm still looking for somebody to 3D print me a cool little insert right there. So if you have a 3D printer and a Makita Track Saw, hit me up. I will buy that little insert from you and promo you on the channel, just because I want one of those, and nobody seems to make one. Everybody makes one for the Festool. So we've covered battery life versus Festool. I think this is a much better value. Festool does have a little bit convenience features, but I don't see, based on my other Festools that I have, that I use and abuse. You can see the sustainers are not clean. They get beat the heck. Festool's great quality stuff. I love it. I even bought, I'm buying their cordless stuff. But for the money, I think you're going to be hard pressed to beat this. And it's compatible with all the Festool stuff. My one gripe comes from tool nut. I've learned a lot about this square. You can see the blue tape right here. This blue tape is necessary. One piece of blue tape is necessary to get a square cut with this thing. That is frustrating as heck for something that costs $150. It's the same price as the TSO, but I keep hearing that apparently there's some type of patent dispute where Insta and TSO are fighting over the patent. TSO say it's theirs. I don't know all that. All I know is it's off. I emailed Toolnut and I emailed, well, InstaRail is only sold through Toolnut. I emailed Toolnut. I was like, hey, this thing's like off like a 1/16 of an inch over 48 inches. Can I get a replacement? Never heard back from them. Running a business, I get that sometimes emails just get lost, but that's frustrating that this guy is off. So I would not buy this again. I would go with the TSO, and I have heard nothing but great things about the TSO brand of these rail squares. Would I be without a rail square? Absolutely not. Even with my little piece of tape that squares it up, I love this thing and I love using it. I just wish I would have got the better brand. That's ironically about the same price, all said and done. I've seen a few videos about this on YouTube of track saw versus table saw. Do you need one, the other, or both? My vote is both. However, as much as I love my Grizzly table saw, I have the Grizzly G090. Man, this saw is awesome. It's a phenomenal saw. I absolutely love it. I have a tool review over it. I highly recommend this saw. That's my review. No money's given to me by Grizzly or Makita or Festool or anybody else as of this video. If they start giving me money, I'll let you know. As much as I love this big, huge 500-pound cabinet saw that has 3 horsepower and does everything you can imagine, it's the last table saw you ever need to buy. If you forced me to choose between my track saw and my table saw, I would choose my track saw. And I would go back to a job site saw size table saw like my rigid job site saw, which I also have a review on. I would have the rigid job site saw and the track saw, and I believe I could do almost just as good a quality of work and get just as much done with that setup versus only having the big huge table saw. Okay? In my world, I get to have both the awesome table saw and the awesome track saw. I like that. But if I had to get rid of the table saw and I only had the $1,600 to spend, I would buy the track saw and a good quality job site table saw and be able to get almost exact same results. So that's my final thoughts on that. Agree, disagree, tell me which track saw you have. Tell me if I'd love to know somebody who's had both the Festool and the Makita long term. I know there's some people who there's lots of reviews covering the Festool versus the Makita, so there's no point making another head-to-head video. Lots of people love the Makita. I think it's a great buy. If you are debating stepping up and you have a good job site table saw, like a DeWalt or a Rigid or a Bosch, something like that, it's a good job site table saw, and you're looking to take that next step in your woodworking, you might hold off on your big dream table saw and get yourself a track saw instead. Because if I would have done that, I probably wouldn't own this big one right now, because I would have saved that money and used it elsewhere. But I bought this not knowing really what a track saw was or how to use it. And regret? Absolutely none. But doing it over again, spending money wisely, and the space that a folding, rolling table saw takes up that you can roll out of your way, if you're in a small garage, that's probably the way to go. Track saw, absolutely. Makita, 100% recommend it. There's a link in the description below. It's where you can buy this thing. Do it. Go to the recreationalwoodworker.com. Check out our blogs, tutorials, how-to, woodworking plans, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time.